we're not going to beat around the bush in this video. I'm going to show you a case study with my client and business partner, Matteo Mateus Oliveira, who goes by @MattioFit on Instagram. We've developed a private label cereal brand that is entirely organic, less than 10 ingredients, and is animal, grass-fed based, whey protein sourced. This is what it looks like in sample configuration. We're dubbing it Protein Puffs, and it's absolutely delicious. Tastes like Ghirardelli chocolate. I'm going to show you how I was able to take an average entrepreneur, and by no means average, okay? Matteo was performing really well in his marketing, coaching businesses, doing multiple 5-6 figures a year, just doing really good. But he took a risk and took a leap and worked with us and myself at Cadversity to develop his own CPG or consumer private goods brand. How did we get him to a point of success, and where are we going in the future? I wanted to break down this case study so that you can start a 6 or 7 figure private label brand. It doesn't have to be a consumable product. It doesn't have to be cereal or food. Okay, it can be a non-consumable product like toy, electronic device, medical device. We do it all, right? So the principles of success are the same. I'm going to show you what his case study looks like here. So we're going to get straight into the sauce. As you can see, I'm in OBS here, so we're just going to reduce that, and I'm going to go straight into his case study. So this is Matty on the left, okay, and we got Protein Puffs branded on the right here. So why did Matty start a CPG or consumer private goods brand? Now, I want you to think about other influencers and people successful in online business who have started CPG brands, okay? Andrew Tate started the Fireblood supplement line. Iman Gadzhi started his Gadzhi blue light blockers and his Big Day electrolyte seltzer lines, okay? All of these decently great products, okay? But they went to a company like us at Cadversity, a product development firm, in order to make this come to life, because they're not drop shipping product, meaning they're not taking a product and wholesaling and flipping it. What they're doing is they're developing a private label branded product, okay? And a CPG company around it, okay? And so this is a business. This requires a lot of intensive thought, risk, and correct perception going into this business, right? How did Matty get into this business? Well, he's already done over 25K, 30K, some 50K plus months as an online marketing and fitness coach. So he had already seen financial stability and success, a level of risk tolerance that is necessary to get into a difficult business like a private label brand. But I'm going to show you guys how lucrative this is, how much it's going to pay off, right? So here's the case study. So there's a couple phases that we walked Matty through and that we're still going through as a brand. The first is the formulation phase, okay? And then the second is the co-manufacturing phase. And the third is the sales phase. So what happens in the formulation phase for a physical consumable product? Okay, what we have to do is we have to make sure the taste is great, that the ingredients are great, that the quality is great, that everyone who would try this, the end consumer, such as hopefully yourself, would actually like the product. By the way, the product is linked for pre-sale down below at proteinpuffcereal.com. And you can easily follow the journey of this brand as we continue to scale. But what I can tell you is that in the formulation phase, this is also where product quality has to match branding. So we were already thinking about the athlete-centric and bodybuilder-centric movement tied to cereal and breaking into that space as a unicorn brand. We have already thought about what it's going to be like to position a cereal brand in a protein tub in the cereal aisles at retail, right? That's going to stand out. It's a product that speaks for itself. So formulation is not just the actual product, it's also the packaging and what goes into the whole end-to-end of the product physically. Now, co-manufacturing is where we have to partner with the right vendors and suppliers to actually make this thing happen for an affordable price, because Matty can't come out of the woodwork and drop $1 million on a CPG entry brand like, Kylie Jenner did with her beauty brand. So what we have to do is we have to make sure that we're doing this sensibly. And so we have to approach co-manufacturing intelligently. Okay. And then the third thing here is sales. Okay. We need our sales to be on point. If our sales are not on point, then there's no point in doing business. So we have to have the end-to-end covered. Now, in the formulation phase, here's kind of what we went through. So we already had 3 vendors that we were looking at. Okay. And I would disclose who these vendors are, but obviously we have competition that could tap into this video. And if you're watching this and you're a potential competitor, you just won't compete with us because we have this, I promise you, we have this dialed in to a T. Okay. So when you work with us, what do we do? Our first focus is to go into the supply chain. We're going to look at how can we drive the most delicious and nutritious whey protein based cereal puff, which is not an easy task to do. Anyone in the cereal industry will understand that formulating at cost and bootstrapping a business like this is very, very difficult, right? It requires considerable knowledge of product development, but this is what we do. So we had 3 vendors already lined up in the space that we've been in touch with for several years, right? And the first vendor, they're great in terms of they are very, very well known in the space. Okay, this vendor is based in Los Angeles. They don't just do cereal products, they do granola products, bars, stuff like this, right? Now, this company has been formulating for decades with celebrities as well. So we wanted to approach them first because you go to the king of the kingdom before you go to the prince, right? It's just, it's the order, the pecking order, right? So we went to vendor 1. The problem is, by the way, before we went to any of these vendors, we had our desired ingredients on lock. Okay, we knew that we wanted to work with stevia, monk fruit, and allulose with very little sugar. We wanted this to be whey protein based, so no soy protein, no binders, and no artificial colors or flavors, and some sodium as well. So we knew kind of what we wanted to get into. So we had our desired ingredients and our scope of work. We wanted it to be healthy and nutritious, so we knew what it was like from the clinical research to define the product. And we wanted to taste like chocolate candy because we wanted to do a chocolate spin at first, because if you have a puff-based cereal, naturally the thing you want to do is compete on a chocolate flavor. So we came in and we brought this to the first vendor. Now, the thing about the first vendor is they're great in terms of their quality of turning over their proposal. The problem is they wanted Matty to pay a production minimum of $40,000 for a production minimum. That is prohibitively expensive. We obviously can't command that. I can't fight for my client on 40 grand, right? Additionally, they had minimal organic ingredients in-house, and that was a big concern. A lot being sourced internationally, not domestically. Like, they're able to get the job done, but it's not going to be that level of like label quality that we want. And then another thing too is that they had no puff form for whey proteins. They had puff form for soy protein and for plant protein, pea protein, but they didn't have puff form for whey protein. And that was kind of where we drew the line, right? They had O extrusions for whey protein, but keep in mind they're commanding $40,000 production minimums. So what I did is I immediately called up vendor number 2. They're a little bit smaller, more local, but they're up in the Seattle area. And I trust them with a lot. I've known them for, once again, a few years. I call vendor 2. I tell them what the situation is with vendor 1. And they say, okay, we've got the right ingredients for the flavor formulation. We don't have the ingredients for the base. So the base is the actual puff itself. And if you were to taste it, it would taste god-awful. And then what you do is you formulate a flavor coating around that. Okay, and ideally you have one manufacturer, one vendor who supplies both the base and the formula in-house for the flavor coating. But sometimes you have to actually connect the dots in your supply chain to connect a partner between the base and the formulation. So vendor 2, we go to them and they goes, hey, listen, Nick, we've got the right flavor formulation ingredients, the right sweeteners, the right salt, etc. We would only ask a production minimum of 20 grand. So now we're 50% cut, okay, which is much better. I can go to my client with that information. And the only problem is we don't have the base. However, I can connect to vendor 3, who we ironically already knew in the space because they're connected to a lot of major protein formulations, especially protein powder. We can go to them. Okay, and what we can do is we can get the base from them and we can formulate the flavor over that base. So I'm like, great, let's do that. So I call up vendor 3 in tandem with vendor 2. They are able to purchase the inventory for the base from vendor 3 at cost. They're liquidating it from vendor 3. I don't think you guys understand how significant of a decision that is. That's showing face, right? We're one client and we're starting off small at scale, okay, with production. They came to us, paid out of pocket for the base material from vendor 3, and supplied their own pantry with that base material before they even knew that we would sign the dotted line or sign an invoice. That is a huge deal, not just in this business, but in any business. You can appreciate how significant that is. So I was able to pull strings. I connected vendor 2 with vendor 3. Okay, and now we had base plus flavor formulation. We're ready to roll. So what we did is we pushed over and ran a financial analysis on the co-manufacturing front. Okay, I was able to negotiate for my client, Matty, down to 50% of the 50% for us to get through the door because Matty has a strong brand. He's bootstrapping it. I'm going to fight for my client's money. So I was able to work with vendor 2 after they liquidated inventory with vendor 3. Okay, where Matty would only have to pay $5 grand up front and $5,000 on completion for anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 finished good units of cereal boxes. 1,000 to 2,000. So you can appreciate how much we're able to wiggle out of such little upfront cost, despite it costing a significant investment to get into the program. But this is what marks creating a physical product from all of these like quick cash businesses, is you have to sacrifice something to put in, but the reward is so fruitful on the way out, and we hold your hand through the whole process, right? And we fight for you. So Matty is able to get somewhere between, full transparency, of $5 to $7 per unit landed cost. And I'm not going to give you the dollar and cent amount. It's somewhere in that range, which is quite extensive in the cereal space. This is a $2 range is quite extensive. But just know that's where he's at, and that's really good, okay? Because what we're able to do is command 50 to 80% profit margins depending on the packaging volume that we spin out. 50 to 80% profit margins. I want you to name a business that is this delicious and customer-facing and evergreen and turnkey, at least with us, that yields such high profit margins months into it, right? We were able to get sample runs like the one I showed you behind me and a couple below me in my workstation. I just had a bowl today with some milk, freaking delicious. And we got to a point where like we literally would review it with friends and family and record their impromptu reaction, and everyone loves the product. It tastes better than any cereal on the market, and it's more healthy than any cereal on the market. It's like, Nick, how is that even possible? We try here at Cadversity to perfect product development for our clients. So after we co-manufactured, we did some things on the sales side. We needed to do these things in order to drive the business. We set up Matty with his own merch, the Cereal Made Me Fit merch line, which you'll be able to purchase shortly at proteinpuffcereal.com. Okay, we completed his packaging, which you can see up here. Okay, we had our renders done for the Protein Puffs chocolate glazed cereal tubs, which are going to be sold as tubs in store. Okay, and I mean, this is real stuff, guys. Like, look at this. Right? Here's our smaller unit size, like our small sampler unit size, right? I've got the vendor unlocked for this too. I've got it right here with me at my house, right? So like we really are just so hands-on with the product development of this. It's really exciting. We've also completed the Shopify linked below for Protein Puff Cereal. That was done by us for Matty. And so as you guys can see, it's really about the end-to-end, because you're going to get left in the dry if you just decide to find a manufacturer and bootstrap this yourself and produce, because you don't have a partner like us, a product development firm, that's able to get you the A to Z of every component, including the marketing. We're also going to run his organic content campaigns as OCC and his paid ads on Meta to actually drive paid sales directly through the pipeline. But I guarantee you we're already going to sell out organically on the first production run. We're talking to several MLB and NFL and collegiate football teams right now about sponsoring them as a snack goods product company and sponsoring stadiums and stuff like that. And we haven't even sold a unit commercially yet. So, I mean, it's really about having the right partners in your corner. Okay. So lastly, like financials, super important. Okay. So like Matty's breaking even in the first year. Okay. By month 12, Matty's breaking even. And the pace at which the revenue curve exceeds the expenditure curve creates a higher profit gap with every production round. Because as our production numbers get higher and we invest more cash into the next round of production and the next round of production, as we guarantee sales off our marketing KPIs, what we're able to do is we're able to drive $20K a month in profit, take home for Matty, then $30K a month, then $50K a month, then $100K a month. Soon enough, I guarantee you, watch back on this video this time next year. So this will be like May 2025. Watch how much money we've made Matty, and watch how much money he's made us as equity partners as a product development firm. This is an intimate business. This is very relationship driven. We have all the manufacturers. We have all the product development solutions, both for consumables like the cereal and non-consumables. If this was a cool case study for you guys and you got some value out of like, especially the manufacturer negotiation side, go ahead and drop a like down below, subscribe, hit the bell notification, helps the algorithm. And go ahead and reach out on my personal Instagram at the Chief Product or at Cadversity for the company, and we'll get you set up right. Okay, we're going to develop your whole business plan for free before we even consult on what the costs and build timeline are going to look like for your own CPG brand. And we're going to hold your hand through the process. We're going to be accountability partners that get you to your 6-7 figure and then 8-figure exits 5-10 years down the line with a physical product. Okay, this is the new wave. People are just starting to catch on to what I'm doing, what we're doing, and they're going to try and compete, but they never will because they don't have the relationships that we do. I hope this video was helpful. There'll be more case studies coming out, more Cheap Product Uncensored episodes of YouTube coming out as well with partners and with myself. And have a great day.